All right, time to get this show on the road. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. One more show for you today. And it just so happens to be my favorite movie of all time. That's right, you heard that correctly. The Princess Bride. Now, if you've seen this movie before, I promise you that you're going to find out something new right in the beginning. And for the rest of you, everybody pretty much is going to enjoy this show. This is my favorite movie of all time. Number one. That's right. Number one. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Please go watch it. You don't know what you're missing. It's perfectly written. It's perfectly acted out. Directed. Storytelling. Just the whole 9 yards. Everything. So, let's go ahead and get started. Alright. I don't know if you guys know who Fred Savage is, but growing up in the 80s was, you know who Fred Savage is. And so he's a kid who got a cold in the movie. Well, the movie version of the book. And so the grandpa's here to read him a book while he has a cold. That's the story. Okay, he's playing video games. That was the thing to do when you had a cold back then. Not too long ago, the 90s. Or 80s. Kind of, sort of. So the Princess Bride, in the movie, the grandpa says by S. Morgenstern. But hold on a second. Because I found out something recently. I'm like, wait a minute. I know German. Morgenstern. So that means morning star. Stern is star and Morgen is morning. Or tomorrow. But it also means morning. So it's kind of strange because when you look at this, it was not written by S. Morgenstern. So why the heck did Hollywood toss that in there? They said it's a mystery, it's a joke. Hollywood doesn't joke around with these things. The real author is William Goldman. Why didn't you just put his name in there? So why did they use a fake author? Here you go. Well, here's my theory, and you're not going to like it, but I hate to start things out this way, but what's with the Morgenstern? Well, because William Goldman is the original author of The Princess Bride. He's not even mentioned in the film. They put this S. Morgenstern. Why not simply promote his name? Well, it's time to put on your truther hats, because I used to have a truther channel. Let me get this garbage out of the way. Sorry, guys. Don't worry, it's going to get a lot more fun right after. My theory is how Hollywood worships Lucifer. Yes, the light bearer. Thus, it means the morning star in German. And the S stands for Satan, in my opinion. That's my own personal thought. You see morning star, and you see serpent, Lucifer, Satan, dragon, and Beelzebub, and God were damned, okay? And these are the colors of Satanism. Red, white, and black. A lot of people, they're completely oblivious to this. I don't understand. Basic research, you find this stuff out. It's not a conspiracy theory. And lo and behold, our heroes, let me see, right here, wearing black and red, and they're white as far as race. So, go figure, right? Scary stuff? Not really, because this is the way Hollywood operates. It's always truth in plain sight. Okay, so here's another example of the red and black. When Buttercup wears her white dress as well, then it's black and white. Anyways, we're going to get into who these people are, okay? If you don't already know who they are. Sorry to open it up with a little bit of Hollywood truth, but they always got to put their stuff in there. So, the story begins with Wesley as Buttercup's farm boy, until he decides to seek a higher paying job to become a provider for his anticipated family, because they fall in love with the words "as you wish." Buttercup asks, him to do something. "Farm boy, would you fetch me that picture?" And then he'll say, "As you wish." And then she's like, could you go do this? And then he's like, as you wish. So, the grandpa reading the story is like, what he really meant was, I love you. So if you see some t-shirt out there with the saying, as you wish, it really means I love you from this movie. Okay. So then he, it's like he joins the army, but it's not the army, it's the pirates, because I guess that's the thing to do back in this, whenever this is dated. The Dread Pirate Roberts. So he gets what he wants. He gets what he wants because, he becomes one, but he never returned home, back to Buttercup. Where's her farm boy? What happened to him, right? It's kind of messed up. It's like he deployed. He joined the army, deployed, and never came back. So she says that she'll never love again because she was deeply in love with Wesley. So, kind of sad start, isn't it? But then the humor comes in, don't worry. Now here's Indigo Montoya, the Spaniard on the left, Vincini or Vincent, a Sicilian genius in the middle, the leader of the pack, Fezzik, Andre the Giant from Greenland, and they all kidnap Buttercup for ransom. Because it's a good idea, right? That's what poor people do, right? Kidnap people for ransom. In this story, at least. Buttercup tries to escape, but with eel-infested water, she can't. She soon realizes that she can't possibly escape because being kidnapped, there's nowhere to go. So there's one of the practical effects. I'm a big fan of practical effects, not this CGI nonsense. CGI has its place. I wish they would do more practical effects because with genius minds together, we can have the best of both worlds. But like the Ninja Turtles, those were suits and real martial artists underneath there. No CGI whatsoever. Oh my goodness, those suits are destroyed now because they don't last through time. They're like made out of like Nerf ball material or something. Anyways, practical effects set aside. Here's Wesley returning for the first time since he left Buttercup to go join the Dread Pirates Roberts, right? Climbing the same cliff that they took Buttercup up. The Cliffs of Insanity. So, on the top, he's going to fight the Spaniard Indigo Montoya. It's like a video game. It's really simple, guys. He has to fight bad guys 1, 2, 3, and then go for the boss at the end. Kind of, sort of, to save Buttercup. So he's a great rock climber. I mean, it's obviously impossible to do in the real, in reality, but it's a movie, okay? So that's what makes it hilarious. He's still gaining on us. He's still there. They keep looking back, and Andre the Giant is pulling all three of those guys, including including Buttercup, with two arms, not even using his legs. I mean, it's just a hilarious scene. So he finally reaches the top, and the Spaniard, Indigo, is so full of honor, like he doesn't want to throw any. He wants him to reach the top, so he can have his nice sword fight. He just loves a good duel. And he asks him, do you have 6 fingers on your left hand? Because he's looking for somebody who did something to him in the past, and I'll explain later. And he's like, no. He's like, do you always begin conversations like this? So Indigo obviously is seeking revenge against a particular swordsman. But we'll explain that later. So he doesn't kill him. Wesley wins the battle, obviously. He doesn't kill him because it's nothing personal. He just wants Buttercup back in his arms. Then on to boss fight number 2, which is Fezzik. Wesley fights Andre the Giant. He dodges a rock that he threw at him, because that's what a giant would do, right? Throw freaking rocks at you. They end up challenging each other to wrestling because it's Andre the Giant, okay? I mean, he was a wrestler who passed away. So, got to pay tribute to that. But so Wesley doesn't kill him either. Puts him to sleep. And he proceeds to finally reaching Vincini. And Vincini's like, I declare a battle of wits. So he's going to play this poison goblet game. So Wesley's like, hey, I got some iocane powder, which is supposedly deadly. So, they play this little back and forth thing, and I'm not going to spoil it for you if you haven't seen it, but I'm spoiling other things, obviously. Doesn't matter. You're going to watch it. It's too easy of a movie. Anyway, so Vincini dies, and Wesley says that he's immune to iocane because, pretty much he poisoned both cups. That's a spoiler. But, Buttercup doesn't know who just saved her. She has no idea. Until later on when they fall down this huge hill, I think. Like a trough, I think that's what it's called. And she's like, why didn't you tell me it was you? And he was like, well, I wanted to see if you recognize me. That's what true love is all about, right? Like, how much do you miss me? Do you recognize me? I mean, half of his face is showing, for crying out loud. It's like a Superman Clark Kent, scenario. Anyway, so in order to get back to the castle, so everybody can get their revenge for, I'll tell you why, they have to go through this, what's called the fire swamp. So, it's an impossible set of deadly obstacles defending the entrance of the castle. This is, for example, a very good practical effect. Lots of fun in this movie is what I'm trying to tell you guys. Rodents of unusual size, so ROUSs in the fire swamp. And also plus burst of fire from the ground and some quicksand, because why not? So it makes the movie really fun, okay? That's why. Stop complaining. Alright, so we have here Count Rugen, and this is the six-fingered man that Indigo Montoya is looking for. We find out, I don't know if when the shot appears, but it appears right now. After they survive the fire swamp, he takes them, captures Wesley. That means Rugen and the main bad guy, which I'm going to present right next here. This is a six-figured man who murdered Indigo Montoya's father and scarred Indigo's face as a kid. The guy who fought Wesley at the top of the cliff, right? So, he scarred both of his cheeks. And here we go. Prince Humperdinck, the main bad guy. The king, if you will. Well, no, not quite. I don't know. He's not king yet. He's prince, but he's so eager to become king. So he tracks Buttercup down because she escaped. She doesn't want to be his wife. So to return to the castle, so now they capture both Wesley and Buttercup. So get a good look at this guy because they toss Wesley. I mean, this happens really fast, but they toss him into this dungeon called the Pit of Despair, where there's like a secret notch on one of the trees that leads to it here. So it's really creative. And so this is called like the age-sucking machine or whatever. Basically, it takes years of your life away when you turn it on. You can set 1 year of your life away, which is a small time, then 2, or I think it goes up to 50 or more, right? So Prince Humperdinck, he can't stand it that Buttercup keeps talking about Wesley over and over. Can't stop talking about Wesley. So there's a jealousy part to this. And this is what we're focusing on in this series, movies about love. This is obviously about love. The other movies that I presented, it's like, well, no, it's still about love. But this one's a lot more obvious, okay? So I'm going to be mixing it up. Movies that you can slightly notice, and then those beautiful movies where it's obviously about love, okay? Gotta mix it up. But I will be continuing to find the movies that I love that are so violent, but it's still about love, okay? Or maybe even comedic, but it's still about love. So, alright, he gets so upset. I mean, jealousy, oh my goodness. Evil is evil in this world. Make you do anything. Like, just hate everybody, bring everybody down, bring yourself down, commit suicide, you name it. Evil is evil. So this guy gets really upset. Anger is a killer. It'll kill you. So he's like, I gotta go vent my anger, which is what these angry dudes do. So he goes down where Wesley is, and he sets it all the way up to 50. And that's like the max. And so his buddy's like, not to 50. So taking away 50 years of Wesley's life with this water torture device, because he wants him to suffer. And it's like, what did Wesley ever do, you jealous, evil demon? All you want to do is try to take Wesley out of the equation and force yourself on Buttercup. That's not going to work. So, what a scum. What a scumbag. Can't just go find a woman of his own. How sad is that as a prince? Where every woman would probably want to be with him except for Buttercup. They always got to have just that one. That's that machismo, toxic behavior. They have to get that one. They can't, get their mind or, their thoughts off of it. You got to get that one, right? It has to be. It's so toxic. So Wesley screams like crazy for what seems to last forever until Indigo and Fezzik finally find him in the dungeon and save him, okay? Not save him from dying, because obviously I guess he's dead now. But no worries, because they take him to Miracle Pill Max, played by Billy Crystal. And his wife here helped revive Wesley from the dead with the miracle pill. It's a hilarious scene because they coat this like nut or something with chocolate, and they're like, chocolate makes it go down easier. And then they squeeze Wesley's chest, and he says, "True love." And then the other guy's like, no, he said to blave, which means to bluff. So he must have been playing cards and he cheated. So his wife here is like, "You liar." And they start arguing back and forth, and he did say true love. So that was his last, thought on his mind, perhaps. Now they got this miracle pill, and they pop it into Wesley, and he immediately wakes up, and he's like, "I'll take you both apart. I'll take you all together." He's going crazy, and they settle him down, and he doesn't have any strength because he's back from the dead, okay? It's going to take a while before he get his strength back. Okay. So Indigo and Fezzik are up here on this on this wall to help Wesley infiltrate the castle to save Buttercup. So Andre begins the whole stuff by acting by makes a makeshift ghost on a fire, a ghost on fire, like scaring all the guards. It's the best description. You'll have to watch the scene. So they get through the entrance, and that way Indigo can go take out his revenge on Count Rugen. So here he is. He finally gets his revenge, and he suffers a knife to the stomach, by the way. Well, not the stomach, kind of like side intestines or something, but he survives the dagger toss, and here he is, and he says the famous words. If you haven't seen this movie, then you've been living under a rock. I'm serious. He says, "I'm Indigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die." And then so it's so funny because they had humor in this action scene. He's like, "Stop saying that." And he says, "Hello, my name is Indigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die." And so such it's just perfect acting, okay? It's perfect execution. But that's not the end of the humor, because we go to the wedding that Prince Humperdinck wants to force on Buttercup. He wants to force this marriage because that's what bad guys do, right? He's all angry and upset, and he just wants to get this marriage over with and force Buttercup to say, "Okay, I'm yours." So here's the clergyman. Oh my goodness, this is a very iconic scene where he reads the ceremony with such a funny pronunciation, if you haven't seen it. So what does he say? Well, let's go ahead and imitate it, right? Marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today. Marriage, that blessed arrangement, that dream within a dream. And love, true love, will follow you forever. So treasure your wife. Have you the ring? And then so, Prince Humperdinck is getting really impatient. This one makes it so hilarious. He says, "Say man and wife, man and wife." He says, "Skip to the end." So he doesn't even pay attention that he's completely voiding the entire ceremony. Because Buttercup never says, "I do. Yes, I do take Humperdinck to be my husband." She never says, "I do." So it never happened. It's not complete, the marriage. I mean, that's how stupid this guy is. But that's what anger does to you. I mean, you don't think anymore. You just act out of evil intentions. And so you do a lot of stupid stuff out of anger. And the world knows it. And so everybody knew it in that ceremony, but don't say anything because Humperdinck is about to, kill anybody and everybody to make this happen. So, Buttercup's thinking that it's legit. She doesn't know that the marriage is invalid. It's void because he said skip the end. So she's about to commit suicide because, she misses Wesley. And so here we are. Wesley whispers from the bed across from her, behind her, because he snuck in. He says, "There's a shortage of perfect breasts in this world. It would be a pity to damage yours." So the comedy is just nonstop in this movie. But it's done in such a subtle, perfect fashion, a manner that it's just so pleasing, because there's so many iconic quotes from this movie. It's unbelievable. From every character, by the way. So Wesley saves her from suicide. Imagine that. And there you go. Now, this is the prince's chambers, I believe. So this is like a big offense to Prince Humperdinck. He's waiting for him to show up, by the way. And he's waiting for his strength to get back because they just tossed him in there. He doesn't have his strength yet. So, in this scene, I kind of interpret it as he's brought back to life. He gets his strength finally by her kissing him. He just kisses him repeatedly. And he's like, "Gently." Like, "Gently, please. You're killing me." Because she's like, "What's wrong with you?" She doesn't know that he's just been, tortured with the 50 years off your life torture device. She doesn't know any of that. Imagine that. Wesley just came back from the dead and she's like treating him like he's completely healthy and everything. It's not her fault, but it just adds to the comedy. Anyways, so, here's Humperdinck. But he finally gets what he deserves because they end up, it's like a game of bluffing, saying if he can move or not. So Wesley just asks him to drop his sword, and, Humperdinck's a coward, because that's what angry people are, cowards, right? It's just a classic, bad guy scenario with angry people. So tied down to a chair alone in his castle, that's right. So that's his fate. They tie him down to a chair, and they leave him all alone. I guess he could get out of it, and we can have a sequel, but why make a sequel out of a great movie? It's good the way it is, okay? We don't need another Back to the Future. We don't need another Princess Bride. We don't need all these other movies they were just great and fine on its own, okay? They're masterpieces. So let me check the chat really quick before I sign off here. Such a masterpiece this movie is. All right. Trade Buff Boy 47, welcome to the stream. I think I've seen this movie before. I hope so. Is this that movie where they fall down the mountain? Not a mountain, but yeah. It was like I was explaining, like it's like a trough, it's like a hill. Yeah. Hey, what's up? I'm just catching up on the chat here. It is, yeah. Okay, so. Enwargmo. I gotta work on pronouncing that name. Maybe a pronunciation typing would help me, but yeah, welcome to the stream also. Let's see, one of my favorite movies. Thanks. And then this movie is about a lot of things. It has a love story, adventure, action. Absolutely. My favorite part is when they gracefully tumble down the hill. Yeah, it's so romantic because she finally realizes that it's Wesley, because as he was falling down, she pushes him down that hill. And he's screaming, "As you wish." And then she's like, "My sweet Wesley," immediately. So she tosses herself down the hill. And it's like so hilarious because they're both falling down the hill like a couple of rocks. And and she's like, "Ow, ooh, ow." And he's like, "Ooh, like they show the whole thing. It's such a perfect balance between comedy and romance. Whoever did this is like, the whole team is just so perfect. Like, whoever just made all these decisions on how to present comedy with adventure and action and romance. It's just such, that's why it's my number one. It's like, how, you can't tell the story better than this. So, let's see here. Back to the chat. Reminds me of Bowser and Princess Peach. Yeah, it's called The Damsel in Distress. You gotta save the princess, save the girl, get the girl in the end, and live forever after. Yeah, because in the end, they have white horses for each other because they steal them from Humperdinck. And they just ride off into the distance. Everybody's good to go. Everybody survives. Except for Vincini, because he was a bad guy. He was really trying to kill people. So, he thought he was a genius. I lost all faith in WWF at the age of 7 because of this movie. Andre was a big teddy bear. Very well said. I love WWF. And Hulk Hogan's theme song still plays really well these days. Like, be a real American, fight for your rights. It still stands tall. You know, the WWF was it for me. After all that, I just kind of fell out of it all. So yeah, that's the whole chat. Thank you so much for attending. This is my all-time favorite movie. Whenever I mention it to some people, they're like, "What? What's that? The Princess Bride? Princess? Really, dude?" Like they're trying to act all macho. I'm like, dude, you have no idea what you're missing. If you're gonna judge a book by its title, or a book by its cover, or a movie by its title, like, I mean, come on, dude. You gotta ask at least a few questions before you go quick to judge. Just because you hear the word princess. Oh, but you know, some people are willfully ignorant. They don't want to learn about new things, and they'll always be ignorant, and that's a sad part. So I'm glad for everybody who gives this movie a chance, even if you haven't seen it. That doesn't mean you're ignorant. That just means you haven't seen this masterpiece, and I highly recommend it. So I'm going to end the stream right there. Thanks so much for attending. Much love to everybody. And till next time, tomorrow, hopefully. Enjoy.